There's a shift that I made in my classroom that changed everything. Not for the children who were already engaged with money, but for the ones who weren't. Because teaching financial concepts to a child who already cares, that's easy. The hard problem is the child who's disengaged, who finds money boring or abstract or intimidating, who goes through the motions of the lesson and absorbs nothing. The shift is simple. It took me longer than it should have to understand it, and once I did, the disengaged students stopped being disengaged, not because I taught them more, but because I changed what I was teaching them about. Here is the frame I was using when I started. Money matters because you will need it. It's a future utility argument. Study this because one day you'll need to manage a budget, or file a tax return, or save for retirement. This is technically true, and it's also completely ineffective as a motivator for a 9-year-old. Because 9-year-olds don't experience time the way that adults do. The future's not real. Retirement is not real. Even next year is not particularly real. So, when you teach financial literacy as future preparation, here's what you need to know for later. You are asking a child to do something neurologically very difficult, to care about consequences. They can't feel them. The research on intrinsic motivation in children, and this is consistent across 20 years of educational psychology, tells us that children engage deeply when they experience competence, connection, and autonomy, when they feel capable, seen, and in control. Future utility teaching delivers none of these. It delivers obligation. Obligation is not a learning state. It's a compliance state. The shift is this. Teach money as identity, not as utility. What I mean is, instead of here is what money does and why you will need it, I started asking a completely different question. Who are you when it comes to money? And who do you want to be? In my classroom economy, every student had a role, a financial personality, whether they knew it or not. It wasn't a label that I gave them, an identity they discovered through their own behavior. See, Jerry was a saver and a recorder. She kept her notebook meticulously. She tracked every transaction. Phil was an entrepreneur. He was the one pitching new ideas and willing to take a risk, sometimes losing and recovering. When a child sees themselves in a financial character, not this is what you should do, but this is who you already are, and this is who you could become, the engagement is qualitatively different. There are no longer learning rules for an abstract future. They're learning about themselves. In 8 years of classroom economies, the students who thrived were almost never the ones who started with the most knowledge. They were the ones who developed the clearest sense of financial self, who understood their own tendencies, their impulses to spend, the anxiety about risk, the satisfaction of watching a savings goal attained. A student who knows I am someone who tends to spend impulsively when I'm excited has infinitely more practical financial capability than a student who can recite the definition of compound interest, but has no self-knowledge about their own money behavior. Knowledge is power. Self-knowledge is liberating. The shift from here is the information to here is who you are and here is what someone like you is capable of is the shift from compliance to engagement and from obligation to ownership. So here is what this looks like outside the classroom. Instead of you should save more of your pocket money, try I've noticed you always remember to save before you spend. That's a real habit, and it'll pay off in ways that will surprise you. Instead of you spent all your money again, try what's going on for you when you spend quickly. You're not judging it, genuinely curious. This opens the self-knowledge conversation without shame. It might be short, they might think about it later. Parents plant seeds. And instead of presenting financial literacy as rules and consequences, frame it as self-discovery. What kind of person do you want to be with money? It's a question most adults have never been asked. Ask yourself. Children given permission to think about it often know the answer immediately. When did you first develop a clear sense of your own financial personality, your own tendencies and patterns with money? I'm genuinely curious how early that awareness arrived for people, or whether for some it never has. Oh, a quick heads up before we wrap. You've probably noticed AI is suddenly everywhere. In the headlines, in your kids' schools, in conversations that leave a lot of parents feeling a step behind. I want to take some of that pressure off. I've built a series that's coming to this channel soon, and it's not a scary one. It's not, here's everything you're doing wrong. It's the opposite. It's a clear, calm, parent to parent walkthrough of what this actually means for your family and why the fear that most of us feel is pointing us in slightly the wrong direction. I'll tell you more next time. Until next time, see you.